Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. In this video, I want us to have a look at a press release by United Nations on human rights. The statement seems to be giving a very strong warning to William Ruto's government over the police brutality we are currently witnessing in Kenya. And from the statement, it's also coming out very clearly that what is happening in the country has caught the attention of the world. Let's have a look at the statement before we continue. Yes. United Nations Human Rights, and then the statement, media statement, comment by UN Human Rights Office spokesperson Jeremy Lawrence on Kenyan protests. Geneva, 14th July 2023. The UN Human Rights Office is very concerned by the widespread violence and allegations of unnecessary or disproportionate use of force, including the use of firearms by police during protests in Kenya. Reports say up to 23 people have been killed and dozens injured in the demonstrations in the past week. We call for prompt, thorough, independent, and transparent investigations into the deaths and injuries. Those responsible must be held to account. Effective measures to prevent further deaths and injuries must be adopted. In light of calls for further protests next week, we call on the authorities to ensure the right to peaceful assembly as guaranteed by the Kenyan Constitution and international human rights law. The policing of protests must seek to facilitate peaceful assemblies, and any use of force must be guided by the principles of legality, necessity, proportionality, and non-discrimination. Firearms should never be used to disperse protests. We appeal for calm and encourage dialogue to address social, economic, and political grievances with the aim of identifying lasting solutions in the interest of all Kenyans. Ends. That is a press statement that has been widely shared in the mainstream media houses. So it's actually authentic. That's the statement from United Nations on Human Rights. And from this statement, it's coming out very clearly that the world has noticed the kind of police brutality Kenyans are going through in these trying moments. The police are using a lot of unnecessary force. On Wednesday, tens of Kenyans were killed as a result of gunshot wounds by the police. And it's good the United Nations is also reminding William Ruto that the policing of protests must seek to facilitate peaceful assemblies. Yes, these are international human rights. It's not William Ruto to give them to Kenyans. These are rights enshrined in our constitution, and not only in our constitution, but they are international rights. No leader in the world can deny his or her people the rights to demonstrate, protest, picket, and such kinds of rights. So it's actually true. William Ruto is clearly on the wrong on this. And if you dig deep into this, ladies and gentlemen, on Monday and on Tuesday, Raila toured town. He was in town, and also, yeah, in fact, before the Wednesdays, mass action across the country, Raila was in town. There were no vandalism. There were no destruction of property. He even went for lunch in the middle of the CBD and also at Kenyatta Market. Kenyans were very peaceful. Why is it that now, on Wednesday, we saw Kenyans being killed? How comes that all of a sudden on Wednesday, it all turned brutal and there were a lot of violence? And we know that on Wednesday, the police was involved. So you are seeing clearly that the people causing the violence being witnessed in Kenya is the government. The government is the criminal here. It's them destroying property, killing innocent Kenyans, and all those manners of uncouth behaviors. It's the government, ladies and gentlemen. And if you look at the clips, various clips of what happened on Wednesday, the police were dispersing and using live ammunition on very peaceful demonstrators. Very peaceful demonstrators, the police was using live ammunition. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? What's the relevance of this press statement coming from the United Nations? And even from the wordings of that press statement, it's clear the world is now realizing who William Ruto is. And it's very interesting that in 2007, after the post-election violence, former UN boss Kofi Annan was here, and William Ruto found his way to the Hague-based court in the Netherlands. I'm seeing a very high possibility where, if nothing is done, William Ruto might be a visitor to the Hague-based court in the Netherlands. From his past track record and with what is happening in Kenya, William Ruto most definitely, if no solution is found, he will most definitely be a visitor once again to that court. And you know, if you look at William Ruto has been really trying very hard to paint an image of a statesman, a leader who upholds the rule of law. All this, he is actually destroying all this. And this is why I've always maintained here that it was only a matter of time. William Ruto could not pretend for long. His true colors were obviously to come out. And now his true colors are coming out. Ruto is not wise enough to handle the current political situation in the country. That's why I strongly believe that he's going to mess up more. Just look at what is doing in this country. Immediately was sworn in as the president. The first thing he did was to buy opposition members of parliament. He's trying to muzzle all independent arms of government. Parliament is now singing his praises. He's also trying his luck with the judiciary. All these political disputes these other arms of government, these other institutions of government that are expected to be independent are no longer independent. And as Kenyans raise those issues, what meets them are bullets. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. But one thing that is coming out very clearly, the world has seen, or rather the world has started seeing, William Ruto's true colors. And what is happening in Kenya has caught the attention of the world. That's something that should worry William Samoei Ruto. Let's meet in our next analysis. If you want to support our forum, I've pinned my number down below. Contact me through the number. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Kenya.